All right. If anybody else comes in, we're gonna only like select them to speak if they like, I don't know, raise their hand or if they have something constructive to say. If they're like trolling, we're just gonna like kick their ass out or block them or some shit.
Okay.
Yeah. But let me know when you're ready, and we'll jump into this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ready?
Yeah.
And all that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, all right. What's up, everybody? Thanks for clicking this video. Thanks for tuning in. I'm here with my lovely wife on this platform called X, and we're starting a new series this year. It's going to be movie reviews. Cymac. I like the name Cymac. I don't know. Is that a bad name, Akdi?
No, I guess it's okay. CIMAC. It sounds like the what is that movie theater thing? Remax?
Gremax. IMAX? You mean
IMAX.
IMAX?
IMAX. It sounds like that.
All right. Well, my name's Simon Hill. I'm a Black American. I'm out here in Budapest, Hungary, with my wife as she's studying to become the sexiest psychologist alive.
Yep.
And I'm out here also just teaching English and making YouTube videos and stuff like that. But my wife and I definitely enjoy consuming a lot of cinema. But go ahead, Acti.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, hey everyone. I'm Akdi, and I'm a Turkish girly who's married to this handsome chocolate man from all the way from Louisiana. And yeah, I'm studying psychology now and hope to become a psychologist in the future. And yeah, I think I've always been like into movies. Like ever since I was a child, I used to just like watch for hours and hours and hours. And then I got sort of like I got into it more artistically in like high school, seeing different movies and stuff like that. And then like after we got married and stuff and we started watching movies together, it was so much fun because we would watch these movies and talk about them for hours and philosophize and just talk about what certain things meant.
Yeah. So definitely, I love watching movies with you because you're very smart and you're very funny and you see things in movies that I don't see. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree. I think we
Yeah.
have generally like the same taste, but sometimes we fight about stuff. But I think this should be fun. So let's get into it. This is our first movie review that we're going to do. And the movie that we're talking about is Saltburn. Now, I just stumbled upon this movie. Like, I use this website, Movies to Watch. I turned on Movies to Watch. I saw this new film on the front page, so I was like, let me check it out. But I feel like you heard about it before.
I mean, I follow Letterboxd very closely. I just go onto it like almost every day and check out if there are new movies or reviews or lists or something like that. So I saw it on like Letterboxd basically, and I just read like the what do you like the little intro that they have. I don't know what it's called, but yeah.
Like a summary.
Yeah, like the summary I read, but I usually don't read the reviews before I watch something. I like to read it afterwards, so I didn't know what it was about when I watched it.
Yeah, me neither. I had no idea what it was going to be about. But let's get into it. So we watched the movie about a week ago, but it's still fresh in my mind.
Hmm.
Was not falling asleep or anything during it because it was kind of entertaining. I'm not gonna lie. Like the movie is
Yeah,
good to look at. The cinematography is nice. The setting is nice. The transition between scenes. The acting from all parties involved is good. I mean, British actors generally are
yeah.
some of the best actors in the English world, so that's not a problem. But overall, it was very good to look at. So I don't know, and
Hmm.
it was entertaining. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have a thing for like visually pleasing movies, like if it has a good scenery, a good cinematography. Like, a lot of people were comparing this movie to Call Me by Your Name. And similar to that movie, like Call Me by Your Name is just like beautifully shot movie. It's like it's in a French town and everything is like old and green
I
and
thought "Call
blue.
Me by Your Name" was in Italy.
I think it was in France, but it
Okay.
doesn't matter. It's like a small European town, whatever.
Mm.
And yeah, and this has like a bit more of a like the beauty of rich people or something. Not the people themselves, but like the houses they live in and the scenery that they look at when they wake up in the morning and things like that.
Mhm.
So I enjoyed like that sort of cinematography in this movie.
All right. Well, before we get into that, let's like break down the movie. By the way, all of our movie reviews will be spoilers. They'll always have spoilers in them. We're not doing that, separate review. One review, no spoilers. No, fuck that. Don't come in here unless you've seen the movie. Okay. But so the film is about this kid who goes to Oxford, and Oxford is like the most famous, prestigious university in the UK. He
Hmm.
presumably, or he says that he comes from this broken family, and he's sort of an outcast because he's not as rich and posh as like all the other kids in school and stuff like that. And then he ends up hanging out with this guy named what was his name? I forgot the Phoenix.
Felix, yeah.
Yeah. So Felix is like this very popular kid at school because he comes from a very wealthy family. Also, he's very handsome, very charismatic, and everybody just sort of likes Felix. So the main character,
Hmm.
I forgot his name. What was his name?
Uh, I don't know.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
it was Oliver. Oliver. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Ollie.
Yeah, Ollie. So Oliver is the kid who says he comes from this family of drug addicts. His parents have died or something like that. And
Hmm.
Felix is the total opposite. They become friends. And when the break comes, like the summer break or something like that happens, Felix
Hmm.
says, "Why don't you come with me back to my estate, my large mansion that my family owns?" And it's a place called Saltburn. And he goes there with Felix, and he's taken aback by how grand and vast the estate is. And he feels weird, and his family is sort of judging him as a because they're very classist. They say, "Oh, his family comes from the poor folks, and they're on drugs, and oh, that
Yeah.
even the children are born addicted to drugs." And that was pretty funny. What
Well,
did you? Yeah.
yeah, it was sort of like this textbook, like snobby, rich people characters that they had, like, looking like, you're helping everybody and you care about so many things, but, you're just like too rich to do some things, or those people are just like too uneducated to understand you, or something like that.
Hmm.
And that's what like the family was kind of like.
Hmm. Yeah, the family was definitely looking down on him, but in a, how can I say, like presumptuous way, in a pretentious way.
Hmm.
They were, when Ollie would walk into a room, they'd be like, "Oh, Oliver, we missed you," or "It's so nice to meet you," or "You're so handsome with beautiful eyes." But then when he leaves the room, they say, "Gosh," or they talk bad about him. Other
Yeah.
people that were in the house too, it was not just Felix's family, but also hangers on. So there was another kid from the university who hung out with Felix, and he was a black kid. He was half black, half British, and they
Hmm.
gave a little bit of his background that his mother was related to Felix a little bit in a way, but she ran off to America and came back pregnant and then dropped off a baby or something like that.
Yeah.
That's how I understood it. I don't know if that was actually what happened. Do you remember?
Yeah, I think like his mother died or something, and then like Felix's family like sort of adopted him and not like a legally adoption, but just like in a sensual way. I
Right.
guess they
Right.
adopted him,
Right.
and
Right.
yeah, like they trusted him, but not towards the end of the movie. They didn't trust him anymore when it came down to money and all of that.
Hmm.
But
Right.
yeah, I guess like at least in the beginning, it was like another son to them.
Yeah. So he's one of the hangers on who hangs around Felix. But then there's also like another girl who's not related to the family. And she has like drug problems and money problems. And she's been staying there for a while too. But then the mother of the family sort of implies that she has to leave and she
Yeah,
has to go. And then moments later in the movie, she leaves the house and she dies, right? Which
yeah,
sets the tone for this place. Like people are hanging around Felix and this family at this large estate to, survive in a way. Because
yeah,
if you're cut off from Saltburn, you die. And that sort of sets a little tone for the movie. And people are desperate to cling on to power, right? And be
yeah.
around these people.
It's like nobody leaves until they're kicked out.
Hmm.
That's what happened with that family friend. And also that's what happened with the like black British boy that was there.
Hmm.
So yeah, I guess like the main character Ollie, like he found ways of not getting kicked out or
Hmm.
something.
Right. It looks like Oliver didn't want to be there, right, at first. But then there's scenes that shows you that he is very secretly envious of Felix and also sort of romantically attracted to him, but in a
Hmm.
very perverted way. So there's a scene where Felix is like jerking off in a bathtub, and then Oliver comes into the bathroom and like sort of licks up the water as it goes down the drain. And
Yeah, it's the famous or infamous bathtub scene.
sorry if we just ruined it for you, anybody who didn't see this movie when you watch it back, but that's a part of it. And there's also just things that Oliver tries to do to get closer to Felix in a way. Like, so he ends up trying to sleep with his sister, or actually does sleep with his sister, which
Yeah.
causes some problems. But then when Oliver is caught sleeping with his sister, he denies it. In fact, he turns it around so that Felix sort of turns on his sister or something like that, right?
Or his best friend, not his sister.
Oh, that was his
Because
best
the
friend.
yeah, like the black guy told him like, oh, they had sex or something like that. So yeah, but I think Felix, not Felix, sorry, Ollie only like ate her out and
Oh,
didn't do anything else, and it was like just a way to get close with her.
right. I think you left out that he ate her out on her period. Is that what women want,
Yep.
Acti?
Yeah, and you said it was like one of the most turning on things for you.
Don't put me out like that. I was being facetious. I was joking.
Okay.
No, but that was a kind of a. But in that scene was very important because he revealed his true self. He said, "I'm a vampire." And while one hand you might think, "Oh, he's a vampire because he's eating blood," it's
Hmm.
that's sort of when Oliver turns and reveals himself to be somebody who leeches onto people and sucks the life out of them, right?
Hmm.
So the sister or his best friend, I think, eventually gets kicked out, right? Too. Or
No, she dies.
oh, she dies.
Yeah. People think she committed suicide, but we learned that she didn't. Like, she was killed,
Oh
probably.
yes, 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 yeah. That was later. That was much later. Okay,
Hmm.
okay, okay.
But what's interesting about like that scene, I think, like yeah, it's like you said, it's like a foreshadow that's saying like I'm a bloodsucker and I'm gonna like suck the basically not the blood but the fortune out of like these people, and
Hmm.
I'm gonna suck the life out of them, and I'm gonna like do whatever it takes, even if I have to like eat a bloody coochie. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to like get my moves on. And also like I thought about it when you said like okay, like this is kind of turning me on, which is understandable, but
You
it's
keep going back to that as
understandable.
if it's true. It's not true, guys. It's not
Okay,
true.
it's fine, it's okay if it is, but it's not, let's say it's not, but still it was like visually pleasing scene, right? And
Hmm.
maybe it's like whatever rich people do, even if it's like disgusting, we can make it look good or something like that.
Yeah,
Maybe it had that sort of meaning as well. I was thinking about that like later.
yeah, no, I definitely think the movie was big on wealth porn. So if you really like movies with grandiose estates, luxury, beyond anybody's wildest imagination, you'll love Saltburn because it's just an hour and 40 minutes of just, ecstasy for your eyes if you just like that sort of opulence.
Yeah.
But anyway, so moving on in the story, Oliver, starts turning people in the house against each other and making people fight amongst themselves and getting people kicked out. So he finds a way to get the black guy kicked out because the black guy is accused of stealing something when really it
Hmm.
was Oliver who did it all along and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I forgot exactly what happens after that, but Oliver.
um
Oh, I remember. Oh, go
they
ahead, go ahead.
okay, do you want me to say it?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Go ahead.
I think what happens after that is like the Felix discovers that Oliver, like Felix takes his Oliver for his birthday to go see his parents or his mother, because he only thinks like, his mother is like a drug addict or something like that, and they're very poor. And they go to his house, Ollie's house, and Felix finds out that, okay, like he has a normal suburban middle class family. And yeah, and then basically he discovers, and we discover as also like as an audience, that Ollie was lying all this time.
Yeah, that was a big shocking reveal actually. And
Yeah.
I thought that was very interesting for the character for it to turn out that Oliver isn't this parasite or this vampire to this family out of necessity. He's
Yeah.
kind of only doing it for his own sick pleasure and also maybe because of envy or jealousy. I don't know.
Yeah, like he's not poor, but he's not rich as well. So maybe he just wants all of that, like poshness, or he's just a psychopath.
I think he's definitely like maybe upper middle class because his father said something like, "Oh yeah, we go to Greece every summer," or
Yeah.
Oliver used to love to play the piano. He was trained classically or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like the more you have, the more you want. So maybe
Hmm.
it was something like that.
All right. So after Felix and Oliver, well, after Felix exposes Oliver as a fraud, right? They
Yeah.
end up going back to Saltburn. Felix is like, "Yo, don't talk to me. Let's just have your birthday party here at Saltburn, and then after that, you should go home," right? So
Hmm.
they have the party the next day, and it's a big, raucous, like almost very nasty party. I mean, people are dressed up in all sorts of ways, and it's pretty cool. And then what happened? Everybody's dressed up. I think it was like Halloween or something like that, right?
No, it was Ollie's birthday party, and they decided to do like a costume party or something.
I see. All right, so
I think it
Oliver's
was like a Shakespeare or something like that,
oh
like
Midsummer.
medieval. Oh yeah, Midsummer. Yeah.
Yeah, so they have a midsummer themed party. Now, I've never seen Shakespeare's Midsummer or the other Midsummer that everybody loves, but I think that might have had another level of overtone or metaphor, depending on what Midsummer is about.
I mean, the movie Midsummer, I'm not going to give spoilers for you because I think you should watch it, but there's definitely people dying in that movie. So maybe it was a foreshadowing for, that they discovered Felix dead the next day.
I mean, maybe it's a bit in relation to Midsummer, the other movie, because Midsummer I remember is about a cult, and
Hmm.
Saltburn in a way is kind of cultish, where
Yeah.
everyone worships the owners of Saltburn. But either way, Oliver ends up killing Felix at his party because he keeps on trying to talk to Felix, and Felix doesn't want to talk to him. So he ends up poisoning his champagne, and he dies. Right,
Yeah.
and
Well, but we don't actually know. Like, we don't learn that he killed him. We just know that Felix is dead the next morning, and they reveal all the things that he planned and did at the end, like a good old like psychopath movie.
okay. I mean, it was kind of obvious that he was the killer. I mean, you could see it coming because he was the last
Yeah.
person with him. He was distraught. He had proven himself to be kind of sick, so it wasn't like Oliver was innocent, you know?
I, yeah, I just want to point out like this one scene that we saw also that was sort of like different, and I've never seen a scene like this in any other movie. Like Oliver fucks his friend's grave.
Yeah,
That was kind of intense. What do you
yeah,
think about that? Is it
yeah.
gay to fuck your best friend's grave?
It's gay to put your dick in anything other than vagina, No,
Wow.
or a part of a woman. No, I mean I don't think it's gay. I mean it was just sick. It was just this movie's with certain scenes, like the bathtub scene, the
Yeah.
period eating scene, the grave fucking scene, it's like the movie wants to shock and also awe you at the same time. So like you're taken aback by the wealth of Saltburn, but then you're disgusted by the depravity of Oliver. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Anyway, I thought that was like an interesting scene that they just added there because, it was like, you know, did you think that Ollie was actually in love with Felix, but he just like didn't let anything get in his way of reaching that luxury life?
Uh, yes and no. I think there might have been some attraction there because Oliver proved himself to be kind of flexible with his sexuality because he had sex with the black guy to make him stop ruining Oliver's plans.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and of course, he seemed willing to do whatever. We saw him have sex with men and women in the movie, but it was always for the motivation of power. So it might have been an attraction to Felix because Felix was attractive, but it wasn't like his main thing. Because if that was the case, I feel like he wouldn't have killed Felix. He would have found a way to take Saltburn, yet keep Felix somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess also in the end, he tells us like when he's talking to the mother who's like sick and about to die.
Hmm.
He says like I loved Felix, but I also hated him. You
Hmm.
know, so maybe like he would have been in love with Felix if Felix was like a normal guy like him, but
Yeah.
because he was like this rich guy, but he was also like good-hearted as well. It's like he hated him. Like it was
Right.
too much. Like he has everything.
Right. Well, let's go back because we're almost towards the end. So after Felix dies, Oliver stays in the house. He ends up killing the girl best friend after she confronts him and calls him all sorts of evil names. She dies in the bathtub.
That
Somebody
was
else.
that was Felix's sister, not the friend.
Oh, that was the. Okay, I'm confused by the two ladies because they kind of look similar. By the way,
Okay.
Oliver throughout the movie is like throwing like he's taking shots at the mother, so he keeps on trying to shoot a shot. He's like, "You're fucking gorgeous," you know what I mean? Like trying to trying to smash Felix's mom the entire time. Um, and then somebody else dies, and it's a big tragedy. No, the scene where they're sitting at the breakfast table and they find out Felix is dead was probably one of the best scenes because they lower the curtains and everything turns red,
Mm,
and they continue to try to eat breakfast like normal. But
yeah.
the and I'm talking about the people that were eating breakfast like normal were the father of Felix and the mother, these very posh, astute, emotionless British people, and
Yeah.
the black guy Oliver and the girl there are like, "Don't you see what's going on? Don't you see what's going on?" And the father just goes off on everybody, like, "Shut up." I don't know
Yeah, I
what.
mean, yeah, Oliver at that scene was trying to like kind of go along with the flow of the parents, I
Yeah.
guess, because obviously he also knew what's happened to Felix too,
Hmm.
I guess. But yeah, that was a good scene, definitely.
Yeah. Either way, people in the family start dying off. The father tries to pay off Oliver to leave, but Oliver doesn't want to leave because he doesn't want to leave the mother in this state, distraught in this large mansion. And he ends up staying in Saltburn. They keep saying, "Oliver, you're not going to go at this time, are you?" Like this polite British, thing where you're not supposed to leave.
I
Which
mean,
reminds, go ahead.
he does take the money at the end though and leaves.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So the father pays him off a large sum. So he's able to take however much money. They never say how much. Years pass, the father dies, and Oliver, quote unquote, accidentally runs into the mother again at a bakery. He's all grown up and sexy now. So he ends up smashing Felix's mom in
Do
Saltburn.
they? Do they smash?
I mean, if he was with her, so of course he betted her. You don't think he betted her?
No, I don't think so.
You think they were just friends? Like after all that time, she's lonely in that big mansion. Husband
I
dies.
I
Young
think
man.
after like Felix died and then her daughter died as well, she kind of saw Felix. Sorry, she kind of saw Ollie as like a son, like Felix, and she didn't want him to go. But then her husband sent Ollie away. So I think when he came back, it was like that again, and she was older. They were like I don't know. I thought they were like mother and son.
Man, one thing women can't resist is a broad chest and a polo shirt with a nice haircut. And Oliver came back looking very studdish.
Simon,
What? Hello?
that's sexist.
How is that sexist? This is like men can't resist titties to the chin and a snatched waist. What are you talking about?
No, no.
I'm saying I
People
don't
can't
think.
resist those things. Stop. Just because you can't doesn't mean not every guy likes the same thing.
I mean, I can't resist you, so you're kind of proving yourself wrong.
Thanks. Are you saying that I don't have big titties?
No, I'm saying I can't resist you.
Okay. So I prove you wrong. So I don't have big titties and a snatched waist.
No, I said men can't resist that, and I
Yeah.
can't resist you.
Okay. Anyway, I'm not gonna pressure you more. I'm just joking. I'm fucking around.
Anyway, I think they had a relationship. I think they ended up, having conjugal,
Mm.
those sorts of things. Either way, she ends up dying, and all that's left is Oliver now in the largest state. The last scene is Oliver running around the house naked.
That's one of my favorite scenes because that was just so much fun.
Describe it then, since it was your favorite scene.
It's it was like a guy just dancing around fully naked, and we don't get to see dicks in camera that often, not as much as tits. And so that was like my favorite, one of my favorite like scenes. And also it's like what you would do like if that sort of thing happened to me somehow, like I don't know, I inherited like a mansion like that. That's what I would do. Like the first thing I would do is just like blast some music and dance around the house.
Mm,
I don't
okay.
know.
All
I
right.
thought it
No,
was
I
sort
mean,
of like it was nice, and they gave us like this one last luxury porn
right. I mean, the
going all
movie
around the
the
house.
movie makes you want to celebrate the villain's victory,
Yeah.
because the whole entire time Oliver was doing things that were so amorally wrong, and in the end, you're kind of like, well, that's something that I would do too. If I had a mega mansion, I would be doing coke on the counter and dancing to, like, whatever SoundCloud is playing.
Yeah.
So, all right, so that's the, like, synopsis of the movie, and yeah, let's get into it. So, my overall, like I said, it was entertaining, engaging, fun to look at, but it's hard for me to really get into it. I don't know what to say. I feel like I've seen this movie before, and I felt like it was kind of unoriginal in a way, because definitely reminded me a bit of Call Me by Your Name, but also other movies where somebody does evil things to make it to the top, like Wall Street, or like I don't know, Scarface to some extent.
Have you
You-
seen Call Me by Your Name?
Yes, of course.
You did?
Of course.
Okay.
Why would you think I didn't see Call Me by Your Name?
Because you will never watch Brokeback Mountain with me, so I thought maybe you didn't want to watch Call Me by Your Name either.
No, I'll watch Brokeback Mountain. I don't care. We watched another queer movie last night, so I have nothing against queer films. Don't let
I
Akdi
know.
fool you guys into thinking that Simon is, some bigot. I'm not out here. Not.
No, I know. I just didn't know. It's okay. Like I know you're not like anti-gay or whatever. It's just that you don't have to watch every movie ever that's about gays. Anyway.
Anyway, the movie reminded me of so many other films, and I felt like, this one was just a copy and paste of different films clashed together in the story part of it. Great
Hmm.
to look at, but nothing really innovative that I could add on more to, like,
Okay.
describing the story. What do you think?
I mean, I'm not gonna disagree with you on that. There's like this movie, Mr. Talented Ripley or something. It's like Matt Damon and Jude Law and Gwyneth Paltrow, I think.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's like basically the same type of movie. This kind of dumb looking guy like just becomes a third wheel to this couple, and he ends up taking everything they have, whatever,
Mm,
something like that. And
mm,
it's very similar to Saltburn, and it definitely reminded me of that. But I don't know, how we watch movies and stuff, and you always say like if it's entertaining then it's probably like good. It doesn't always have to be serious or mind blowing or things like that. It
mm.
could just be entertaining. And I guess for me, this movie was like that. And like I said in the beginning, I'm a sucker for like those type of aesthetically shot movies.
Right.
And this was one of them, definitely. And Yeah, I don't know. There was just something charming about it, and I guess the charm was also like in the lead character as well, because like you said, we didn't really like wanted, like I don't know, we were kind of rooting for him, you know?
Kind of, a little bit. I
Yeah,
mean,
like we wanted him to like kind of reach the end, maybe. I don't know. I didn't really wanted him to get caught.
yeah, and he was successful in not getting caught, right? And that's the
Yeah.
unique thing about it. Another movie that I just thought of where like a villain emerges at the end victorious is a mafia movie called Usual Suspects, where at the end of the movie, the guy who you thought was crippled and couldn't walk ended up being like the main mafia boss who was killing everybody. So yeah, that's another movie that just reminded me of what you
Mm.
were saying.
Yeah,
But
like the theme is not special. It's not like revolutionary, obviously. We've seen it before, but I don't know. I like the execution and it kind of just like I guess synthesize it to like today, like
hmm
2024 or
hmm
something like that,
right.
even though it kind of felt like a bit older because you always, I guess, like, at least for me, I always think like the old money is old, you know? Like it in old times, and usually people who are right now who are rich is just like, you know, in
hmm
skyscrapers or something and not in
Right.
like mansions.
Right, right. So, by the way, the movie was directed by a British woman named Emerald Fennell. She's been an actress, a filmmaker, writer. She's won awards and stuff like that. Little known fact, Emerald played Midge in Barbie. And I think Midge was like
Mm.
the fat Barbie or something like that.
Wasn't
And
Midge like the only guy who wasn't Ken?
no, Midge is a girl.
Oh.
Emerald is a woman who wrote, directed, and produced this film. So it's always a salute whenever you see somebody do all three of those major parts.
Okay.
This is
Oh,
something
Midge
like,
was the pregnant Barbie.
yeah, she's pregnant and she never had the baby. She's been pregnant like 70 years.
Yeah.
So she played in Barbie. She's also been in some other movies I've never heard of. Anna
Oh.
Karina, The Danish Girl, Pan, Vita in Virginia, Promising Young Woman. Uh, no, none of those.
I mean, I watched a couple of those. I watched like The Danish Girl and yeah,
Okay.
but I don't remember her. I think she was like also like a side character in Danish Girl, like one of the friends of the main character or something.
All right. She was also in The Crown, and she played Camilla.
I didn't see that.
Okay, you never saw The Crown. I didn't watch The Crown either. But this is her third movie that she directed. So shout out to her,
Yeah.
and this is the first thing that I've seen from her. So shout out to her. The main actor, his name is Barry Keoghan. Keoghan?
Keegan, I think.
Keegan. Sorry, he has an O in his name, so threw me off. So he's from Ireland. He's won several awards too. Been in some other stuff. I want to know if you've heard of it. He was the Joker in the Batman that we hated.
Mm,
And
wow.
yeah, he was also in Dunkirk. I tried to watch that and fell asleep.
Me too. I fell asleep on that one.
Yeah. He was also in some other movies, Mammal, Trespass Against Us, The Killing of a Sacred Deer. He was in Green Knight. We need to finish Green Knight. We started it, but didn't finish it.
Mm, yeah.
And television, he's been in Top Boy. He was in Chernobyl.
Oh, he's
Fair.
gonna be in Dune.
Oh, he's in Dune.
He's gonna be in the second movie.
Okay, they don't have it here on Wikipedia. But either way, this is the really first movie I've seen from him too, and he did a good job. He's a good actor, and also Emerald, I would say, is a good director. Maybe needs to work on the writing. You know, write some more compelling stories, some more interesting stories, in my opinion. But I don't know.
Okay.
What do you think of them?
I mean, I really like the whole cinematography, so I applaud her for that.
hmm
And yeah, I don't know if like I don't know the director if the director necessarily writes the script.
She's
So
listed as the writer of the movie, so
oh. Well, yeah, I mean it could be more original, but she even though like the story wasn't that original, I think she executed nicely. So,
yeah, yeah,
thumbs up for that.
yeah. All right. Well, shout out to her. And yeah, my my other thing about the movie that kind of makes me dislike it is that, the motivation for wanting to take things from the rich, right? So, Oliver's motivation seems to be after lust or envy or jealousy of the rich, right? He's drinking Felix's bathwater. He wants to, put his dick in Felix's grave and come in it. Like, that's pretty gross. But if I feel like I would have rooted for Oliver more if there was like a disdain for the rich, as if like he pisses in Felix's bathwater, he spits on his grave, you know? It I feel like the movie is telling us that the rich we should be sympathetic for, because even though they're cold, they're callous, they might be a bit classist, maybe even racist, uh, you know, they didn't deserve to be murdered and had their things taken away from them by somebody who was doing treachery and evil.
Mm.
Because you feel kind of bad for them, and you only feel kind of good for Oliver at the end when you see him doing something that we would do, running around the mansion having fun. But I just feel like, that sort of messaging in is sort of like giving a pro-capitalist message, and that's kind of why it didn't sit right with me. But what do you think about that?
I mean, yeah, but um, yeah, like maybe that is like morally better to hate the rich or something, or not hate specifically, but just to think that it's not fair the way they have this money, or the way that they won't share it or make the world better or something like that. Maybe that would be more moral, but I think I also said this when we were discussing it afterwards, is that like in reality, people don't really despise the rich that much, and instead they want to become rich instead of hating them mostly,
Hmm.
except maybe like very hardcore communists and anti-capitalists. Most people would, accept willingly that amount of money or that amount of like luxury, without looking back, and they wouldn't hate the people who gave it to them or anything. So I think in that sense it was real. It wasn't like, oh, I hate the rich because they don't help like any of the poors and because they have all of this. But it was what all of us feel in reality. Let's be honest, like, we don't hate Elon Musk in living in his mansion because like, you know, he's rich. We might hate him for other reasons, but you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that makes
Or
sense.
we don't hate any of the celebrities that are insanely rich. We want to be like them, or we want to be with them or something.
Right. No, I feel you. I don't think, like you said, most people don't hate the rich. In fact, most people are under the assumption that they can be like the rich too one day. If you work hard enough or do the right things, you can become Elon Musk or Beyonce, Jay Z, I don't know, the president, whatever, right? A lot of
Hmm.
people are under that spell, But I feel like with this movie, they were putting this in our face, this messaging that we're disgusting for trying to be like them, because these people are different than us. They make Oliver seem like a sick, twisted boy, and he's supposed to, in my opinion, like represent the middle class or the regular folks. And meanwhile, the upper class are, beautiful, elegant, maybe a bit weird, not perfect people, but they're innocent. And I feel like the movie would have been more interesting, had the black character and Oliver sort of like join forces against Saltburn, because the black character could say something like, Saltburn was built by the money from slavery in Jamaica, and Oliver could say, well, the rich have always been stealing money from us regular working class British folks, and they join forces and then have gay sex all over the house at the end. Like that would have been more rewarding rather than Oliver, just killing everybody and doing it in a way that feels like, you know, he's supposed to be a character that we root for, but also feels disgusted by.
Mm.
Is that
Yeah, I guess, but I don't know. Honestly, like the only rich character that I feel like most of the audience thinks who's good at heart is Felix.
Mm-hmm.
and none of the other rich people in the house. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, we don't even know what Oliver did with all the money. Like, we don't
Mm-hmm.
know if he just like sat in that house until he died or something, or he sold it, or spent the money traveling the world, or helped the
Mm-hmm.
poor. We don't know what happens, but we
Mm-hmm.
just know that he's like so happy to be rich, and which he shows us by dancing naked
Mm-hmm.
for like 10 minutes at the end of the movie. But yeah, like I, I know it would have been like what do you say, maybe it would have been more satisfying, but that's what I'm saying, like it's not really real. I don't
Right.
think it would happen. I don't know. Maybe like, maybe if you did it, maybe you would do it and you would commit to hating the rich, but I don't know. I feel like most people wouldn't.
I mean, I think it is possible to tell that story in a way where, maybe hating the rich sounds too harsh, but like having a, critical eye on their wealth. Because having that much money, I think we can both agree, like having a large estate far away, with an ungodly amount of money where you never have to work again. And this money was probably passed down from your great 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 grandfather and stuff like that, who got
Hmm.
it through, nefarious means, who did some pretty bad stuff to get it. I think we could kind of all agree that that's bad, and you could tell that story in a way where Saltburn is meant to symbolize, the how wealth is corrupting, and also how it needs to be redistributed, rather than a story that they have it, so I'm going to take it from them and hoard it for myself. True, we don't know what Oliver did with it at the end, but I think the motivation to get to that end should have been more compelling.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, you can also look at the point from the point of view where, like, this family, they have everything in terms of like material things, but they don't really have like a, happy life, or I think all of them need some therapists.
Hmm.
So, like, maybe you can look at it from that way. And then also, like, what happened to all of them at the end? They, you know, sadly and tragically died one by one.
Hmm.
And yeah, nothing like nothing that they had in this world did anything to them while they were passing away, or when they passed away, or anything
Hmm.
like that. Like, probably they won't even have, what is it called, like the person that comes after you.
Descendants.
Yeah, because guess what, everyone died.
Yeah, I mean, he killed off an entire family's lineage, which
Yeah.
is insane to think about. And it's kind of just in a way because, these people are descended from people who did that to other groups of people, right? And for anybody who's listening to this now and say, what is Simon talking about? Go watch the recent live stream I did where I pointed out King George III and several other major politicians in the UK are directly related to slave owners, not cousins, not nephews, not uncles from a long time ago. Like, their great great grandfathers are slave owners, right? That's how a lot of these mansions and palaces in the UK were built, literally from human trafficking money. So, when I looked at Saltburn in the movie, I didn't see like an estate that just appeared from, you know, hard work and a lot of effort put into building this mansion. I see, a slave castle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I think this movie probably would not have been made had the motivations that I would have put in there been made. You know what I mean? Like if Oliver was, secretly reading Karl Marx in between, dinner time, and
Okay.
researching the family's ties to slave owners in the Bahamas, I don't think the movie would have been made. So I think this movie is that, in my opinion, capitalist propaganda meant to humanize the rich and
Mm,
also, criminalize us and demean us in a way. That's just my opinion, and that's why I kind of can't get with it.
okay. No, I can see that point of view, and I think you do have like a point there. Yes, it is like sort of um that type of propaganda where you're like, you either adore what the rich have, or you can like do something to have that too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the end goal either way is to be rich and have that, no
Mm.
matter like what path you follow, basically. So yeah, there is a propaganda there.
Yeah.
But also, like I told you this after the movie as well, when we were talking about it, one thing that I liked about the movie in general was that they sort of focused on this sexuality and erotica around the male body.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see any tits. Yet we saw a lot of like male butts and dicks and balls just flying around. But
Wow.
more than that, it was like, we saw the main character, Felix, just like in sweat and dripping, and like he was so hot and all of that. And even though there was like a sex scene between a man and a woman, we didn't really see anything with the girl. You know what I mean? Like we didn't see her taking her clothes off or anything like that. And this erotica was focused on male body, and male body was being sexualized, which I liked. Not
Of
that
course you
like
liked it.
sexualize no, not that like sexualizing any gender is okay, but I feel like male body is like not that much appreciated in Hollywood, and I that was one of the things that I liked.
Right. I can respect that. I think there is something to be said about, you know, putting that sort of image out there because too often in cinema, women are the ones who have to take their tops off and run around naked and, you know, sexualize themselves on camera. And I do think it's important to celebrate the male body, but all male bodies. Where's my fupa represented? Where are my man boobs represented? Is the ideal man a little twink? A little British twink? Is this what the ideal man looks like? Because I could never be that.
Yeah, no, I get it. It should be more inclusive, but hey, like it's a start.
Exactly. No, I respect that, and I think it's important, that also female directors, get their shine because a lot of female directors make really good looking movies. I feel
Yeah,
like women have a certain eye for cinematography and settings that males sort of miss. Like
yeah,
the movie Titan. Titan is actually very good to look at as well, in my opinion, and they pay good
definitely.
attention to details. And that was a female director too, but I forgot her name.
Yeah, no, that movie is definitely really good, and everyone should check it out if you're listening to this.
Right, right. So, as we wrap up this review from us, we only have about 15 minutes or so left on this. I really wanted to jump on this New York Times review because even though I'm bashing this movie, I feel like this review is way too harsh on this movie. So, I'm going to read parts of it and I'm going to ask you to respond because I feel like he is not being fair. By the way, this is a brother who
Okay.
wrote this, a brother named Wesley Morris, right? So, it's good to see black men out here writing movie reviews. So I'm happy for him. This was published on November 27th, 2023. It's titled Saltburn Review: A Promising Young Man Takes a Seedy Turn. In the new film from Emerald Fennell, Barry Keoghan plays an Oxford student drawn into a world of lust and envy at a classmate's estate. Saltburn is the sort of embarrassment you'll put up with for 75 minutes. I mean, that's just wrong, bro. Don't do that. Did you hear that
Wow.
sentence?
Yeah.
Saltburn is the sort of embarrassment you'll put up for 75 minutes. What do you
Mm.
think of that?
I mean, like I said, I'm a really big Letterbox fan, and I'm looking at some of the reviews and stuff, and people either like love it or they really hate it.
Mm, mm,
Some people are just like, oh, we see it from the beginning. Like, there's nothing new, nothing interesting about the characters, nothing interesting about the script, and all of that. And then some people are just like, uh, you know, talking about, oh, how the cinematography is. And also a lot of people talking about like the cum slurp scene, which
yeah.
was really disturbing to hear that sentence or read it. It was disturbing, but
Yeah.
yeah, some people are saying like it was just so how do you say, pleasing to watch. And then the
Hmm.
others are like, okay, there was nothing interesting about that movie.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the people that love Saltburn also watch like The Crown. They also watch like what's it called, Weatherton, the what's the show with all the people in like
Bridgerton.
Bridgerton. Yeah, they watch like Bridgerton and stuff like that. They like that sort of aristocratic wealth porn like cinema, I
Okay.
think. Either way, this review says this is the sort of embarrassment you'll put up with for 75 minutes, but not 127 minutes. It's too desperate, too confused, too pleased with its petty shocks to rile anything you'd recognize as genuine excitement. This thing was written and directed by Emerald Fennell, whose previous movie was Promising Young Woman, a horror flick about R word, whatever, rape, that was also a revenge comedy. Okay, I think I might want to check that out. You want to watch that?
Which one?
Promising Young Woman, a horror flick
Oh,
about rape that was also a revenge comedy.
okay.
Yeah, we'll check that out. All right, so believe me, she wants you riled. Fennell's seen the erotic thrillers, studied her Hitchcock, and possibly read her Patricia Highsmith, and gets that you name your main character Oliver Quick, he's obligated to do something at least arguably Dickensian. That's kind of funny. Get it? Like,
Wow.
yeah. By the way, the article I sent it to you. Do you see it? I don't know if you can see it.
No, I'm just listening to you.
All right. The question here, amid all the lying, lazing about, and eventually, inevitably dying, is to what end? We're dragged back to 2006, where two boys at Oxford, bookish Oliver, Barry Keegan, and rakish Felix, forge one of those imbalanced, obsessive friendships that one of them mistakes for love and the other tolerates because he's needier than he looks. He goes south or sideways or to outer space, but also nowhere. Well, that's not entirely accurate since it also goes, for one summer, to Saltburn, Felix's family's estate, a grassy expanse that boasts a Baroque mansion with stratospheric ceilings, one cantilevered staircase, copious portraiture, a Bernard Palissy ceramic platter collection, and one of those garden mazes where characters get lost right along the plots. This nigga's insane. It's absolutely insane. I have to say this though. I could sympathize with Oliver because I've told you this. My college roommate Walker Hill, he was like Felix. He was almost copy and paste Felix. Super rich white kid, super tall, super handsome. All the girls loved him. So I
Mhm.
could like sympathize with how Oliver felt, in the feeling inferior or like less than perfect next to somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have you ever felt like that? Because I feel like a lot of people can sympathize with like how Oliver and Felix's relationship was so imbalanced.
Yeah, I mean, I was never like too close with someone like that, but I studied in like one of the most prestigious high schools in like my area, which was for rich people, but I got a scholarship there. And but yeah, like I went there and it was like everybody was wearing the same things. It was like the height of Montclair jackets and the those boots, Timberlands
Mm-hmm.
or Uggs or whatever. So like every person looked the same. Every person, every girl like in my class was getting, I don't know, like lashes and lip fillers and getting their nails done every week and
Yeah.
facials and whatever. And yeah, I was just like I'm a middle class, girly, and
Mm-hmm.
I was a middle class back then too. So I would just have like normal stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
one time we went to with my friends, we went to this like one of the richest girls that was in our like term. We went to her party,
Mm-hmm.
I think, and at one point during the night, we were so drunk with my best friend, and we went into the bathroom, and the rug was so soft that we laid down on the rug and started like just caressing the rug because it was
Mm-hmm.
like white and clean and soft.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we were just like fucking around. It wasn't like a serial killer type of vibes, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, yeah. So I understand Ollie
Yeah, yeah,
basically.
definitely. I think, in that sort of experience where, middle class isn't good enough. you sort of feel like left out, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, in the review, this guy says these two meet in earnest when Oliver loans Felix his bike, a moment Oliver's been waiting for. The best scenes in the movie happen during this Oxford stretch when Oliver experiences Felix as an intoxicant and prepster Coterie experiences Oliver as an irritant. There's some crackle and dreaminess and post-adolescent instability here. Identities are being forged. It's been better elsewhere. John Hughes' Heathers, Hogwarts, LRD's HBO show Euphoria. But Fennel squeezes some hunger, cruelty, and passable tenderness onto these moments. When Oliver tells Felix his father's just died, Felix extends his Saltburn invitation out of sincere compassion. Yeah, I feel like the Oxford part of the movie was very innocent, and it made Oliver seem very sympathetic, and Felix also sympathetic as well.
Yeah.
Um, and I think he's being a bit too harsh, like on like criticizing, you know, maybe that part of the movie. But he's giving praise to it, but he's saying like, oh, other movies have done it better. We don't have to like do that. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, like it was the prepping, for the big thing, and yeah, I guess like at that in that place in the movie, you didn't really know the intentions of Ollie were like,
Hmm.
specifically evil,
Yeah.
and it had more like a "Call Me by Your Name" vibes. I thought it was gonna be like some sort of love story or something.
Me too. Me too. That's what I like about watching movies without reading the summary. I just want to go into it and not know what to expect.
Mm.
So that's sort of what made this kind of enjoyable, not knowing that this was like psycho thriller, which is what it turned into. Partial comedy, partial psycho thriller.
Yeah.
So, all right, now what happens over the course of this visit amounts to a different movie, or maybe three. Lust and envy take over, as does Fennel's tedious, crude stab at psychopathology. Felix hails from one of those stiff, pathologically blase clans where clenched counts as an emotion. Everybody at Saltburn seems ready for a new toy, and Oliver's A student impulse makes a sport of ingratiation. His erudition, availability, and blue eyes impressed Felix's droll mother, Elspeth. Elspeth is a cool name. No?
Um. I don't know. It sounds like they wanted to name her Elizabeth, but then the mom said, "We need to make it original."
Okay.
You know how rich people, they
Yeah.
put like the weirdest names to their kids.
Yeah, but Elspeth was Felix's mother's name.
I know.
Okay.
Well, her
Oh, okay.
parents were
Okay. I
rich
get
too.
what you're saying. Like the grandmother's like, she needs a special name.
Yeah.
All right, his mere arrival arouses Felix's self-conscious zombie of a sister, Vanetta. In a different movie, their enthusiasm for this newcomer would make you sad for Farley, Archie Madiku, a schoolmate and cousin of Felix who's already on the premises, flatulent with attitude by the time Oliver shows up. He's the one non-white major character in Saltburn, a fact the movie considers doing something intriguing about with but abandons. Okay, so he's saying like, oh, they had a black character there. They could have used that more to make something more interesting. But I feel like the movie kind of made him a bit raceless in a way. Like his blackness was secondary to telling
Yeah.
the story, and I feel like his blackness could have been because there was that one scene when he accused Felix of racism, right?
Yeah.
Like Felix is like, "How dare you steal from me?" And he's like, "Oh, you're accusing the black guy." And he's like, "Don't make this about race or something like that."
Yeah. 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 I mean, yeah, like he was the only character who was like, you know, another color than white.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, mixed, which I
Mm.
guess also shows that, I don't know, or it proves further to the point that all this like kind of old money sort of wealth is accumulated around white people.
Mm.
There aren't really that many like old money people of color.
Of color, yeah, no, I think there's only like four,
Yeah.
and their different names are Oprah.
Wow. But that even that is not old money. Oprah didn't come from old money.
Exactly. All right. So His eyebrows are just chronically up to something. Is Farley worried about losing a financial lifeline? Is he jealous that Oliver might consummate things with Felix before he does? Do you think Farley wanted to sleep with Felix too?
Um, no, no,
No.
I don't think so. I don't think so. But I think he likes being that like best friend to Felix, because if he remained his best friend or like his sort of entertainer at the same time, because he was also a bit stereotypical, playing this like sarcastic gay dude or something.
Yeah. He
So
just
yeah, like if he's there to tell him the truth and be someone he can trust and also like entertain him, then Felix will always need
mhm.
him.
Yeah. Okay, okay. So like he just wanted to be the funny gay guy who hangs around and is appreciated for just being their proof that they're not racist and not homophobic.
Maybe. I mean, that's a good point. Yeah.
All right. But this isn't a movie in which anybody's reaction to new developments is straightforward, and not because there's anything complex or psychological going on with the screenwriting or the performances. Richard E. Grant pumps Felix's father full of drollery. I like the father. The acting from the father was pretty cool. I mean, he's type like the type of like British old money dad.
Yeah.
All right. It's because Fennel is more drawn to, or maybe just better at, styling and stunts than she is in the tougher work of emotional trench trenchancy. So he's saying like, oh, she's better at making a movie look good than having any substance. I don't think that's fully fair. I don't know. What do you think?
Mm. I mean, yeah, like I guess you could say that their acting of, or their portrayal of rich people was sort of stereotypical,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's also like real.
Yeah.
I feel like there are actually rich people like them,
Mm-hmm.
who act and behave like them.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Yeah, a little bit, but I liked the mother too. I
Yeah.
liked her acting too, to be
Yeah.
honest.
All right. So he says. Okay. If Emerald, the director, gives us one music video bit, a montage, a whole tracking shot, she must give us a dozen or half a dozen. When the time comes for the movie to make it switch to gothic mischief, it's like watching the first half of Psycho turn into the video for When Doves Cry or George Michael's Freedom 90.
Wow, that's funny.
I love a good thrashing in a review because when I write my reviews, I like a good little, little jokes in there. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, no, that was good. You know.
All All right. So, what's that look like? Well, Oliver sneaks a peek as Felix masturbates in the tub, and once the coast is clear, he bends over and sips the draining bathwater. It's a fine shot that's also an absurd thing to have this guy do, which is how you know the movie is failing as a good work of trash. I didn't laugh or gape. I just sat there watching an actor do his damnedest to save the rest of the movie before its head goes down the drain.
Wow. Yeah.
That's what I was saying earlier, though. I agree with that because I feel like those shots of drinking bathwater and fucking the grave is meant to like shock you, but it doesn't move you. I don't know.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess you can say the thing is like after seeing all those like scenes, I was expecting some sort of passion between the two characters. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But then you also like kind of never know if Felix is like bi, or just
Yeah.
pretending to be straight, or if he's actually straight since he sleeps with lots of girls and things like that. So
Yeah.
you don't really know. And it also looks like that he doesn't have any reason to hide his sexuality, because his family is sort of like weird all
Yeah.
over.
Yeah. Yeah.
um so yeah, I don't know, but maybe those scenes are not that necessary, but it also shows like that sort of freakiness of the main
Yeah.
character, like how psycho he is. And it's like, just I don't know, maybe it was too obvious of a foreshadowing.
Yeah. 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 I got you. I got you. But This review is hilarious. Let's keep going. So Fennel keeps going though, turning her mild protagonist into someone ripe for the cover of a Bodice Ripper. I don't know what a Bodice Ripper is. A crafty virgin discovers the lethal weapon of lust. This was the gist of Promising Young Woman too, that sex was like a chainsaw or a gun. When it landed in 2020, the moment seemed right. Fennel had found a way to turn a premise you'd propose at a dinner party or while tipsy in the back of a cab into something tight and mordant, a rape culture revenge omatic. But it was so morally and formally tidy that it punched its own teeth out. The omatic one. Saltburn has the same seductive sleekness, the nerve, but none of the dread or poison kick. Interesting. I'm he's really comparing Promising Young Woman to Saltburn here, and
Mm.
I don't feel comfortable jumping in that because I didn't watch that movie yet.
Yeah, me neither.
So the film's comic centerpiece was also the star of Fennel's other movie, Carrie Mulligan. Here she's deadpanning her way through a chickly, ratty mess named Pamela. Mulligan does blinkered, stammering, and sad like if Tama Janowitz had written Miss Havisham first. It's just Helena Bonham Carter karaoke. But the movie needs it. Pamela has maybe 3 actual scenes, then we never see her again. She's overstayed her welcome at Saltburn, but the movie misses the campiness Mulligan's giving. You'd like to see her and Pike try on the vulgar farce of Absolutely Fabulous, but Fennel is going for real opulence, not a comedy of it. Okay, so he lost me there with all those references. Totally, totally
It's
lost.
she's comparing her. Have you seen the Fight Club, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And there's a woman, the main one of the main characters, Helena Bohem Carter, I think. Bonham.
Is that the one he went to the house and she had like a dildo on the shelf?
Yeah, the main woman character
Uh huh.
in the movie, the one
Mm-hmm.
that the one that he's with. But
Ah.
yeah, he's comparing that lady who was a friend at the house to her, basically.
Ah, okay. I missed that. See, all these references. This is why you're smart. I like it because you're smart. Okay. If Promising Young Woman had feminist vengeance on its mind, what's Saltburn thinking? I spy 3 hovering text dots. It's got some twist and a handful of good lines. Nearly all of them belong to Pike, but it doesn't have many thoughts and even fewer feelings. Here is a movie where gay things occur, but homosexuality abuts. Alas, corruption and conniving. Interesting. So he's
Mm.
saying like the gayness of the movie uh,
Mhm.
with some gay scenes doesn't have any motivation. In fact, I feel like it's sort of problematic in the film, maybe, because gayness is tied to, how can I say this, treachery and like amorality. Because
Yeah.
Buddy here, Oliver, uses sexuality in a way to get what he wants, but specifically homosexuality seems to be the subtext of his misgivings, like evil things. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I guess so. Like we never know like if any of the characters' sexuality. We don't really have any idea of it except the black guy.
Yeah,
Like we
yeah,
know that he is gay because he's giving us once again this very stereotypical gay like character.
yeah. I think another
Yeah.
thing, though. Go ahead, go ahead.
And no, I was just gonna say that I agree with that, and also like some of the reviews in Letterbox, they kind of wanted the movie to be more gay and not just gay like.
Gay
Like if you're
light.
gonna make it gay, then make somebody actually gay or something. I don't
Right.
know.
And let there be love. Because, like, when you tell stories, it might seem obvious for us, but unfortunately, some people are very homophobic. So if you tell gay stories or movies where there are gay characters and you don't have them have any sympathy or any sort of redeeming quality or anything that you can like about them, especially if they're evil, and they're the only gay character there, that can fuel more people's like homophobia. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I also don't want to make it like. I think I don't. I think like okay, maybe I'm gonna say this. Like, the only character that we know who was gay was actually like a good guy, I guess. in his essence. Like, he didn't do anything bad. And when Felix died, he was feeling really sad, and he was like, why are you guys acting normal? My best friend just died. Like, this is insane and all that. And he didn't actually steal anything from the rich family. And I think he did actually, like, those people were the only family he had
Mm,
left, at least. So we
mm,
know, like, the actual gay guy was like a good guy with
mm.
emotions and things.
I mean,
So I
he
don't
was.
think we should take it that far. In terms of, like, the main character, Oliver, he was sort of using all types of sexuality to get what he wanted, because he did have, like, some a sexual scene with a girl, but then he also had sex with the friend as
Mm,
well, who was gay.
mm,
So he was just, like, using his sexuality, you know, by all means.
right. No, that's real. I mean, I, I'm trying to get out exactly what I want to say without, but I get what you're saying. Like, how can I say this? Farley was a good character in the sense that he was generally a good friend to Felix, right? But his motivations make it kind of not a good friend. Because would he have been that good of a friend to Felix if Felix wasn't hella rich? If Felix didn't have this large house that he let him live in for free and spend money that he didn't have? You get what I'm saying? Like, on
Yeah,
the one
but
hand, go ahead, go ahead.
also, like, I think we know that he was also rich, but I think his mom, like, gave up his richness, her richness, to go marry some guy in America. And then she died, so he ended up not having any money or something like that.
Hmm.
Like, he was disowned from the family, you know assets or something like that, and
Right.
that's why he depended on Felix's family. But I don't think his intentions were, like, only financial.
Right. I think this movie would have been hella interesting from Farley's perspective. You know, if we watch this movie again from Farley's perspective, I think it would have been a much more engaging movie for me because here we have this, half black man in this very white world clinging on to wealth and stability, but also not only just because he's greedy and he's, how can I say, a class chaser, or you know what I mean, trying to
Yeah.
go up in rank, but just because he wants family. I mean, that's a deep thing to really, that's a deeper story, honestly, than Oliver's just mischievous vampire period eating ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but also, like, when he in that karaoke scene, do you remember when he picked a song for Oliver, and it was
Mm-hmm.
like this song that was like, "Oh, I just want you for your money and buy me this, buy me that," type of song, that
Mm-hmm.
he thought it was supposed to embarrass Ollie. And then Ollie says, "This is your song too, so sing it."
Mm-hmm.
And then he takes the lead and he sings that song with
Right.
crowd,
Yeah, he starts
So,
tap dancing. And
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, Farley, getting into Farley's mind is like the mind of the Uncle Tom, right? Like Farley fully embraced the idea that I'm going to sell out, and selling out is okay for what I want to do. And it's very interesting because you could even make the argument maybe Farley wasn't even gay at all, because a lot of times black men have to play down our masculinity to be unthreatening to white people. Like, they of course, they used to castrate slaves, but so they couldn't like reproduce with the women in the harem and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
uh on top of that, though, a lot of black men play up the ambiguity of their sexuality or the fluidity of their sexuality because it's more accepting and palatable for the dominant society. So I feel like Farley might have been maybe not even gay at all, or maybe just been gay for the play, as in like just present himself this way to be a black man who can fit into this world that he's normally wouldn't have access to. Do you get what I'm saying?
Maybe that might be true as well. But once again, I don't think Farley was just, like, Farley was aware of, like, the sort of advantages that he was taking from this rich family, but he was also, like, someone who was born into this world. So I don't think, like, he saw himself as just like this purely, money sucking machine or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Once again, the movie from his perspective, and I agree with you 1,000%. Like Farley maybe didn't see himself as just a leech, and maybe he disliked Oliver because he saw a leech when as soon as he met him. You know what
Mm.
I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think the movie from his perspective would have been amazing. Anyway, this is the last part of this text of this review. All right, so the guy says, I suppose Fennel, the director, has made a movie about toxic elitism, but she's done it in the way IKEA gives you assembly instructions, and barely even that, since the most blatant class indictment is outsourced to the Pet Shop Boys' Rent during a bout of actual karaoke with Oliver and Farley. Staging the warfare between two strivers isn't a bad urge, but that doesn't go far enough either. The movie does for Posh what Soul Plane did for Ghetto. Luxuriated in what it's pretending to blow up. I love black writers. Black writers can point out stuff like that. Like, yeah, like this movie is making Posh and luxury in a way that is just kind of gross. Like it's just basically, it's like putting it out there in a way meant to be consumed and fawned over and loved, but
Mm-hmm.
with no substance in it, nothing to critique it. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I mean, maybe that was sort of like the. It could have been that was sort of like the aim of the director too, because
Mm-hmm.
like you have that something that's like empty inside but looks so beautiful and posh and all of that, and then also I don't know, like the montage thing that the writer mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they did a lot of montage. Well, firstly, I guess it's like one of the popular like cinema things, but then also like we like middle class people think that rich people's life is just like a montage, they
Mm-hmm.
go
Mm-hmm.
on holiday and they swim in their private pond and suntan naked and all
Mm-hmm.
that sort of things. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
there was some intention behind that, but obviously like we can never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, yeah. Let me just wrap this up. So I'm even left doubting Fennel's expertise in main characters. Are we meant to clock a nerd who, when he sheds the clothes and spectacles, makes you as horny as Felix is supposed to make him? Barry Keoghan is trying to create a role out of the disparate parts of other ones. Norman Bates, Tom Ripley, Patrick Bateman, yet doesn't get all the way there. He couldn't have. There is no there. The whole movie seems to exist for its coda, and presumably the prosthetics designer whose name appears in the closing credit. They're saying he's wearing a fake penis.
Wow.
They're saying
Wow, no.
they said that dick was fake.
Stop. I don't think his dick was fake.
Yo, that's hilarious. Oh man, that's funny. That's so much shade. Oh my. Anyway, it's another music video Fantasia, but so cynical, literal minded, and literally cheeky that I cringed my way through it. And it asks a lot of Keegan, who could have built a memorable original character for Fennel. But real acting is not what Fennel's after here. Oliver has a decent amount of strategic sex, and Keegan does his share of nudity. But the only pornographic thing about the movie is the house.
Hmm.
Hmm. Anyway, yeah, I thought that was a very interesting review. Very harsh, overly harsh. I did see that there was a body double for what's her name, Oliver, but that doesn't matter. I don't care. Either way, I'm not gonna hate on Mr. Keegan. He's a handsome man. Women might find him attractive. Maybe he does have that long schlong,
That Irish schlong.
that Irish meat. I don't know. Who knows? But the prosthetics part was hilarious. I thought that was dope. Anyway, yeah. We'll end this review with our stars. So, out of 10, what do you give this movie?
Out of 10,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because the more we talk about certain movies, then the more my score changes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I had a higher score for this movie initially, but I'm gonna change it a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna give it a 7.
7. All right, solid score. Y'all should see Acti scores when we're not on the internet. She be giving movies twos, sixes, just savage. I'm a little bit more harsh for all the reasons I've said before. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna give it a 5 out of 10. It's
Okay.
an all right movie. It's an all right, and 5 out of 10 in my opinion is not bad. It's just average.
It's average. Yeah.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. Well, thank you so much, Acti, for coming through.
Thank you as well.
All right, and yeah, y'all check out our next movie review. I'll let y'all know the next time we do it. And peace.